Hi boys and girls, welcome to today's read aloud of Mr. Terupt Falls Again. So as you know, this is the sequel, so the second book to the Because of Mr. Terupt series. We are on page 93 and we are going to be reading in the perspective of Anna. If you have your book, follow along. If not, just relax and enjoy. Mom picked us up in the car after school. Jeffrey told us how to get to the medical center. I couldn't believe he'd been biking such a long way. But I wasn't surprised. Mom walked in with me and Jeffrey, and he introduced us to Nurse Barry. Mr. Terupt had called ahead and explained our research project to her. It was agreed that Jeffrey would continue to spend time with Asher, and that I would help out in other parts of the center. Nurse Barry was very welcoming. She gave me and Mom the grand tour while Jeffrey rushed off to find Asher. One area of the center, where Asher was staying, was dedicated to children, the pediatric wing. An area on the other side of the building was for old people. Nurse Barry passed us off to Nurse Rose in the geriatric wing, which is the older people side, and Mom and I spent the rest of our first visit with her. We helped her with Barney, an elderly man who was recovering from a stroke. I didn't know anything about rehabilitation or physical or occupational therapy. And before that afternoon, I didn't have any old people in my life, just Danielle's grandparents, and they didn't seem to like me, so I didn't count on them. But soon found out I liked all of the above, and so did my mom. Barney struggled with partial paralysis, which means he had lost the use of one side of his body. That's something that can happen as a result of a stroke. I included information on strokes in my presentation. I learned a lot about them and heart attacks too. Mom and I continued to work with Barney for several weeks. We helped him use his walker until he regained his strength and could walk on his own 2 feet again. It felt great. You really like helping all those old farts and senile geezers, Peter joked after hearing me talk about my visit. He sounded like it was hard for him to believe. Yes, I do. Cool. Peter didn't say anything more. He could tell I was serious. And she's great at it, Jeffrey added. I've seen her in action. I smiled. Jeffrey was right. I was great at it. November, everyone. We're moving along in the school year. I love that the author does this. He organizes his book in character perspective, but also by months of the year. So we kind of have an idea of what time it is. All right, let's read another. We're in the perspective of Jessica. Fade in. There is a knock at the door, and in walks Mrs. Williams. We see her look at the floor and gingerly walk across it, obviously making sure she doesn't slip and crash land with her underwear showing like last year. Remember that, everyone? Oh my goodness. I remember when we read that, we couldn't stop laughing. Mr. Terupt. Okay, gang, Mrs. Williams is here with an important announcement, so please give her your attention. Mr. Terupt walks over to his desk, once again stopping to hold on to it for a few seconds before sitting down. This has been happening to him, and we're predicting that because of, ever since he came out of his coma, he had injury to his brain, and now he's seeing some side effects later on of that. And he can't really keep his balance, he gets dizzy. Mrs. Williams is standing in front of the room. We saw a lot of Mrs. Williams. Between last year and Jeffrey showing up with a baby this year, we'd been through a lot with her. We were special to her, and she had become special to us. That's one of the things that can happen when you go through a tragedy together. Everyone involved ends up closer. But for Mr. Terupt to take the time to formally get our attention, and for him to call Mrs. Williams' news an important announcement, suggested something serious. I had no idea what was coming. Mrs. Williams. Good morning, everyone. It's always nice to come and see this class. I'm here to tell you that Snow Hill School has been awarded a grant for what is best described as an exchange program. The state has awarded us money to use towards collaboration with the other 6th grades in our region. You will be getting together with the students from Woods View School 2 or 3 times this year. Luke lets out a sigh in exasperation. He gets surprised looks from many in the room after his out-of-character reaction. Mrs. Williams, the first get-together will be in a couple of weeks. At that time, you'll be required to work on projects in groups. Your groups should be made up of a few of you and with a few of them, like the incoming school. Why does the state want to pay for that? Luke asked. Because we're interested in giving you opportunities to make and meet friends with the kids you'll be joining in junior high next year. The state always likes to promote programs that ask students to work together. Lexi, this is our chance to meet some boys. Oh goodness, Lexi. Peter, while staring down at his desk playing with an eraser. We already work together in this classroom. Why do we have to do it with outsiders? Under his breath. It's not like I'll be in this school with them next year anyway. Luke, what sorts of projects are we talking about? Jeffrey, doesn't matter. Mr. Terupt gets up from his desk and walks to the front of the room and stands by Mrs. Williams. Luke, since we're getting money from the state, we can do some bigger projects. You'll like it, trust me. In fact, we're going to be starting an oceanography unit in the next few days. And our first exchange project will be something special to go along with that. Luke's face brightens. He rubs his hands together in a way that tells us he can't wait to get started. Luke, awesome. I've been thinking I might want to study marine science when I get older. Can you believe only 10% of the world's oceans have been explored? There's all kinds of observations and discoveries just waiting to be made. Class laughs at Luke's dorky energy and excitement. Luke, what? I'm serious. I've been swimming a lot this last month to earn my athletics badge. You have to be a good swimmer if you want to explore the ocean. Lexi, oh boy, do you think you can wear that really cool Boy Scout shirt again when you get the badge? Sure, okay, Luke says. Jessica. Lexi's sarcasm went right over Luke's head. The poor kid probably would wear that ridiculous shirt again. He wasn't always the sharpest knife in the drawer. Mr. Terupt. Now, gang, remember how scared you were before visiting the collaborative classroom last year? This is no different. That turned out to be a great experience, and I'm sure this will be too. Be positive. Jessica. Did Mr. Terupt really believe that? The collaborative classroom had been his idea. This was someone else's idea. Other than Lexi, I'm not sure any of us were excited. I know the boys weren't. That was easy to see. Though Luke did perk up for the prospect of bigger projects. Mrs. Williams. Mr. Terupt's right. Let's be positive. I'm sure things will turn out differently than you expect. Mrs. Williams smiled and walked to the door. She stopped and turned to wave. Have a great day, everyone. Bye, Mrs. Williams. You too, the class said. Jessica. I was feeling overwhelmed. I still wanted to learn more about Mr. Terupt, our very own Sam Westing, plus I had my research project to think about. My partner had me concerned. Lexi had gone from a normal-dressing 6th grader to a high school-looking girl with real lipstick and a chill vocabulary. She claimed it was part of her wardrobe research. She was learning how to be an actress. I think she was getting her information from the supermarket tabloids. I have a strong command of language, but even I hadn't heard some of her words before, at least not how she was using them. Now, on top of all of that, there was the exchange program to worry about. No wonder I had a lot on my mind. All right, that brings us to page 103, and tomorrow we're going to start with Alexia's perspective. So I really hope that you've enjoyed it. I'm really excited that they're doing another project with outside people in class, and I want you to think back to the first book because of Mr. Terupt and how great the collaborative classroom was for a lot of people, especially like Peter. It really changed his perspective on a lot of things and his attitude. So we will have to see about this new incoming school that they're going to be working with. That is it for today. I really hope you are enjoying this. Again, if you need to get caught up on any of the chapters, they're all here on YouTube. So just look them up and they'll be there. All right, everyone, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon.